Guys, I hope you're about ready to break out your wallets because today we're going to be going over my top 10 fall niche fragrances. Of course, I already did my top 10 fall designer fragrances, the much more affordable list. You can go check that video out and see my favorite designer fragrances for fall, but today we're going to be covering the niche fragrances, or the more luxury branded fragrances, I guess is one way you could put it. And of course, all of these do have a luxury price tag as well, but there's a reason for that. In a lot of situations, you do get better quality, you do get a bit more of a unique scent a lot of the time, so it's definitely pros and cons to, designers and niche and which ones you prefer. I really like designers, but I also really love my niche fragrances as well. Today we're going to be going over 10 of them that are my favorite for the fall. I will provide links to all of these down below. Some of those links will take you to Twisted Lily, and for them I actually do have a 10% off coupon code. That code is Chaos10, and again, that will get you 10% off your entire order there. It's a great way to save a lot of money, especially if you're picking up a few of these, or they do have samples available of a lot of their fragrances on their website as well. Some of the other links down there will take you to places like FragranceNet, and I will have the appropriate discount codes down there as well. If you want to check any of these out, pick any of these up, you guys know what to do. Save yourself some money. Now, let's get into it. Don't have any honorable mentions, just straight into the list. At number 10, we have Creed Viking. So Creed as a whole is a house that doesn't get a whole lot of love from me anymore. Not just on the channel, but just in my life. When I'm choosing what fragrances I want to wear, I don't really reach for too many Creeds anymore. Every now and then, in special occasion or something, I'll reach for Aventus. I told you guys I went to a wedding this past summer and I wore Creed Aventus to the wedding. I layered it with Elysium. So, in times like that, I will reach for my Aventus, but that's really about it in terms of my Creeds. Even over the summer, which is kind of what they're known for, I didn't reach for many of their summer fragrances. But Viking, believe it or not, is actually one of my favorites from the house. This was one that got a little bit of hate, or actually quite a bit of hate when it first came out. But for me, I like it a lot. It's a very mature, spicy, minty, woody fragrance. Get a nice minty opening with a lot of red pepper and spices. Honestly, the bottle and the color of the fragrance itself is a great representation of how this one smells overall. A really nice scent, in my opinion, the best all around for fall. Another one that could work in the winter as well, but I really like this one in the fall when the temperatures are relatively mild. It's a good performer from me, and honestly, one of my favorites again from the House of Creed. Number 10, that's Viking. Moving into number 9, we have Amouage Interlude Black Iris. So this is the new Interlude flanker, and it is a really, really good one. I love the original Interlude. It's a great scent, but what I like about this flanker right here, Black Iris, is that, well, it adds iris to it. It kind of makes it, for me, a little bit more wearable. It's still a very, very strong performer, and it's still going to be a daring fragrance. This is a niche fragrance all the way through, just as the original Interlude is. But for me, just a bit more wearable, and I do like the creaminess that you get from the iris note, which is added in here. Both Interlude and Interlude Black Iris are great scents. For me, this one maybe is a bit more fall leaning, whereas the original Interlude maybe a bit more for winter. The iris really does help to tame this one down, which I think makes it perfect for fall. At number 9, Amouage Interlude Black Iris. Moving into number 8, we have a fragrance from the house of Nishane. This one is Hacivat. Kind of a hype monster that was going around for a while. Still gets some talk here and there. It's a really nice one. This one you'll notice gets compared to Creed Aventus, one we were just having a discussion about a few minutes ago. What I find for this one is that it is a much, much richer and stronger version of Aventus. I've just said this before in my old videos that this is like an Aventus Extrait. Creed just came out with Aventus Cologne, a lighter, fresher version of Aventus. And for me, this is what I would imagine that an Aventus Extrait Parfum concentration would smell like. Very rich, very heavy, a lot of depth out of this one. You get a lot of pineapple, but you also get a lot of that oak moss in here, and it is a strong, strong fragrance. I've worn this one in the summer before, and I would never make that mistake again. I wore it on a hot day, not this summer, but last summer, and it was to the point where I almost had to scrub it off, or maybe I did scrub it off. Just being outside, it heating up, and then even going inside, it was still really kind of woken up, and it was just killing me. It was killing my nose. It was killing people around me. I was only with like 2 sprays. You don't go heavy on this one. So one, again, is an extrait to parfum concentration. And It is a seriously super stupidly strong fragrance on my skin, one of the strongest. So for me, definitely good for fall because that colder weather really does help to tame this one down. If I want an Aventus type of fragrance in the fall and winter, I'll go for Hacivat. And I like to wear my actual Aventus in the spring and summer months. Works much better then. Moving into number 7, we have a fragrance from the house of Mancera. This one is Hindu Kush. Really like this scent. Now, you know, this one does have the cannabis note in here, and it's in the name, Hindu Kush, but it's not that strong. Primarily, what I get out of this one is patchouli, spices, and woods. And patchouli is kind of also giving off a spiciness as well. So that's mainly what I get. You get a little bit of cannabis, but it's not that strong. You know, I have a few other cannabis fragrances, Black Afghano, Kilian Smoke for the Soul, and really for me, it's kind of the same with those. I don't get a lot of cannabis. I would say in Smoke for the Soul, that one you can tell it's there a little bit more, but this one, again, is a very mild cannabis note. Again, mainly the main players for me is patchouli and woods and spices, just a nice spiciness. It's a very masculine scent, and another one that is very strong. Like, this stuff is no joke. Most Manceras are that way, very strong scents. I mean, this is just an EDP concentration, but it will last a long time and it will project a lot as well. So this is another one, 2 to 3 sprays and you're set. When I first tested this one, I had a sample of it first, just a little sample, sprayed it on paper, and it would last for days on paper. I could keep going back up to it and smelling it, and eventually I'm like, okay, I need to get a bottle of this stuff. Couldn't be more happy with it. Love the scent. If you like patchouli and woods with a little bit of a cannabis touch, and of course, if you like beast mode fragrances, check this one out. Perfect for fall time, Mancera Hindu Kush. Moving into number 6, this one may really surprise you that this one is this low in the list. Of course, this is Parfums de Layton. I know, don't kill me too hard. The reason why this one is so low is because we may have another Parfums de Marly higher up in the list, hint, hint, which I may prefer better for fall. I still love Layton, but for me, this could almost be a year-around type of scent. You know, spring, fall, winter, you're golden with this one. Summertime, that may be a different story because, you know, it would be a bit too sweet for summertime. But, you know, spring, you get the nice apple in this one, giving it a little bit of a fruitiness. Fall and winter, you're getting the vanilla, sweeter notes. So I think this covers a pretty broad range of seasons. I don't see this one really catered just to fall like I do with a lot of the fragrances in this list. So that's kind of another reason why it's lower in here. But I still wanted to include it because dollar for dollar, this is one of the best niche fragrances you can get if you're starting out. It's a very welcoming scent. It's something that everyone's going to like for the most part. It's got a really nice presentation. You get that niche presentation and niche experience when you pick this fragrance up. You know, you hold it, you spray it, you're even purchasing it, you're spending that amount of money. It is a niche experience, and that's a great way for you guys to get started. If you want to get into niche fragrances, Layton would be a fantastic place to start. Moving into number 5, we have a fragrance from the house of Nasomatto. This one is Baraonda. So a really nice, realistic whiskey fragrance. It's got whiskey and ambrette. The ambrette's giving it like almost a bit of a chocolatey sweetness. But the main note is whiskey. It's all on a nice woody base. It's a pretty simplistic note breakdown, not a whole lot going on, but it's a very, very strong scent. This is another one. It's an straight concentration. You know, for the longest time, I put these off because I didn't like that they only came in 30 ml bottles. And that's stupid, I know, but I like to purchase the big bottles when I can. I like having it on stock. You know, I don't have to like having to worry about it running low. So for the longest time, I just, wasn't really into picking these up. But eventually I got over that. Don't care anymore. And to be honest with you, 30 ml of this stuff and of the other Nasomattos I own is more than enough. I've sprayed this one a few times, haven't even really put a dent in it, but it is one that I do have experience with from samples from a year or two ago. Really nice fragrance, and another one, again, that is very strong. 1 to 2 sprays will be filling up a room. If you're in like a car and you wear this, be careful. 1 spray is probably all you need because not everyone will like this because of the whiskey note. So yeah, just be careful with this one. It is a strong, potent scent. Not really for everyone either, but it does have the ability to pull you compliments. A nice, sexy one for fall time. It's Nasomatto Baraonda. Moving into number 4, we have Baccarat Rouge 540. So this one is another one of my favorites, just, hands down one of my favorite niche fragrances. Just a beautiful smell, something that is just so different, something I've never smelled before. That is Baccarat Rouge 540. Here I've got featured the EDP. You can go back and forth between the EDP and Extrait, whichever one you prefer. Extrait adds almond. This one does not. It's a bit more light and transparent. The Extrait's a bit more heavy. So this one probably more for fall. The Extrait probably more for winter. For me is how I'm probably going to do it. Really enjoy the scent. It's another one that is very expensive and following the trend, another one that is extremely strong. This stuff is a performance monster. Another one of the strongest in my collection. 2 sprays has filled up rooms. 2 sprays has projected far for me. 2 sprays has lasted me 10 to 12 plus hours. I'm not making this stuff up. And this is one of the, advantages to niche fragrance, and a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, especially here in this list, they're performance monsters, and they'll outperform a lot of designers and other fragrances out there. No exception here. A beast mode scent, Baccarat Rouge 540. Moving into number 3, we had that other Parfums de Marly fragrance we were talking about a minute ago. If you guess what it is, this one is Habdan by Parfums de Marly, an apple caramel fragrance. This one smells beautiful. If you were to ask me, what is a fragrance that smells like fall? This one would be up there really high in, what I would tell you. One of my answers, this would be a fragrance that legitimately smells like fall. I've said this before. A lot of times in fall, I like to go to this apple orchard that's nearby. You can get fresh apples, apple cider donuts, apple fritters and stuff. It's all fresh, made there. And it's a really nice place to go in the fall. Stuff tastes great. And you can, go through corn mazes and pick pumpkins and, do all that stuff. It's a really cool place. And I like to go there every year if I can. We haven't gone this year yet. It's not really quite fall enough for me yet, but we will probably, hopefully. And whenever I smell this, I think of images of that apple orchard. And, this is just one of those fragrances that conjures up so many memories of fall to me. Just the epitome of fall for me right here. Parfums de Marly Habdan, a beautiful scent and a very, very strong number 3 spot. It's one of my favorites from the house. Moving into number 2, we have a fragrance from Roja Parfums, and this one is Danger. Danger is a fragrance that I've recently really fallen in love with. It is just a beautiful scent. You get this lavender, woody spiciness going on in here, and a bit of like a almost cumin note, like a very spicy cumin. I believe cumin's listed in the Parfum Cologne version. I don't know if it's listed in here. A lot of what you're getting here is that lavender. You'll see ambergris is listed as a pretty prominent note, and I do get quite a bit of that, especially in the dry down. This is one of those fragrances that makes me feel like $1 million when I wear this, and I don't get that often. There's a few fragrances out there, Chanel Platinum Egoiste, and maybe a couple Tom Fords that when I wear them, I feel really like I feel wealthy. But this one especially does it for me. This stuff smells like an older, wealthy, sophisticated guy. Now this, you got to keep in mind here, is a mature smelling scent. And that's one thing you'll hear a lot of people almost as a criticism towards Roja will say that a lot of their fragrances smell older. You have this one, you have Reckless, you have Scandal. Those kind of do lean a bit older school smelling. So you have to be into that sort of thing. But for me, I love that stuff. Scandal is one of my favorite aromatic fougères. Reckless is a really nice, interesting bay leaf scent, I believe is the prominent note. Bay leaf, it's a different one. Then you have, of course, stuff like Elysium, which is a bit younger, and Danger, which goes in that older direction. But I love it. It's a fantastic fragrance, and for me, it's a really good one for fall. It's one that you could wear in winter, could even potentially wear in spring, but I think I'm going to have the most fun with this one here in fall. That's at number 2. Again, a very strong number 2. Roja Parfums, Danger. Finally, at number 1, we have a fragrance that I've known about for a few years now. Smelled it from a sample originally, and when I smelled this stuff the first time, I was like, how is that a fragrance? It's one of those things where I wasn't fully into niche yet. I hadn't really smelled a lot of things. Even I didn't even have that many designers, or I didn't smell that many designers at this point in my, collection hobby. So smelling this was a game changer, especially, wanting to get me into niche. I'm like, how did they make this into a fragrance? You know, this doesn't smell like a cologne. This smells like, you know, like a memory, or this smells like an experience. This one's from the house of by Kilian. This one's Apple Brandy. This is one of the best boozy fragrances out there. And I know people say, you know, you say boozy all the time, or not just me, people probably say it to me, but, you know, the term boozy gets thrown around a lot in the community from, you know, describing fragrances. But that's really the best way to describe this one. And in terms of describing the smell, the name says it all. Apple Brandy. You get this apple smell, which, you know, there's no apple listed as a note. They just blended it together and they created an accord of which smells like apple. And you get this nice, rich, sweet, heavy, almost like kind of creamy brandy accord, or this alcoholic accord. This is one of my favorites ever, and at least in terms of niche, one of my favorite smells ever. It smells just to die for. It's like a gourmand. Like, this smells like something you could legitimately drink. I love this stuff, and it's at number 1 because this one, kind of similar to Habdan, conjures up those fall memories for me of going to some, like an apple orchard, going out and you know, enjoying the fall evenings outside, maybe by a bonfire, maybe, you know, walking through the woods with the leaves. This type of thing, just with that nice apple, but with the alcoholic smell as well, just creates something that is the epitome of fall for me personally. One of my favorites here. I really want to try and get my hands on single malt because I've heard they're similar, but that one's pretty hard to get here, at least from what I've seen. You can get refills, I think, but I would like to get a bottle. So that's my number 1, Apple Brandy by Kilian. Truly just an amazing scent. And I'll tell you what, it's stuff like this that really kind of keeps my passion going. You know, of course, I love my designers, and, you know, I always will. Designers will always be the main focus here because I know that's what you guys love to see the most. But there's something about getting photorealistic smelling stuff like this, and like a lot of the other beautiful scents in this list, that really keep me intrigued and, you know, wanting to explore more. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your top 10 fall niche fragrances down below. And do remember, if you want to pick up any of these scents, they will be linked down below. Coupon code for Twisted Lily is Chaos10. That will get you 10% off. So make sure you take advantage of that if you're going to shop over there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow morning with another one. Take care.